Hello, my name is Andrew-Coulter, and for my senior project I decided to do Linux application development environment. And the reason I chose this is because a developer I know was telling me that I should familiarize myself with three applications. And those applications are Vagrant, Docker, and Ansible. And so I kind of based my project around these three applications. The goals I had were to use Xen Server as kind of a platform to create VMs for Ansible and Docker and Vagrant so that I can kind of test them and do some different things. Ansible, I wanted to do some different scenarios where I could automate tasks with Ansible. It's mainly just like a scripting language or like a scripting platform, so it just makes it easier to do tasks and automate things. That's kind of what I was trying to go for. In Docker, I wanted to be able to share an application and also the libraries for that application and for development purposes with another VM. And Vagrant, what I was trying to do with this is make it so that I could automate some of the various tasks involved with creating a VM. And what I was able to accomplish with this is I was able to get the Xen server up and running, and I did run into some problems and decided to get rid of Xen server because it was kind of unnecessary and kind of redundant, because Vagrant can do virtualization, it can do full VMs and create them. So I decided to go with Arch Linux, which took a little bit more time to install, but it was worth it because it has better documentation and things. And Vagrant, along running on top of it, actually worked out very well. So I'm actually really glad I made that switch in the beginning. And with Ansible, I was able to get it up and running and get some hosts and do some different things with the host, but I didn't do very much with Ansible just because I ran out of time. Docker, I was able to share an application between two VMs, and it was pretty straightforward. It was pretty nice, actually. Vagrant, I was able to do quite a few different things with this, and this is what I spent quite a lot of time on. Vagrant, I had some issues though with assigning a public IP, and assigning the public IP, for some reason I could never get that to work, at least using the Vagrant configuration file. You're supposed to just put a one-liner into the configuration file of your Vagrant config, and it's supposed to assign a public IP address. But anyway, it still worked, and luckily I didn't need public IPs for this anyway. And get I kind of added in there just because I used it to help with the project and help speed things along, use some different aliases and things and share those with my server. And I'll kind of show you how everything looks, and show you a demo of Docker. And we'll go over to my Arch server over here, and I'll go into the homework folder. The reason why is this is the actual Get repository. So if I do get log, you can see that this is the different commits I've done. It's just showing that it's basically a Get repository. And the different files and folders I have here, the configuration file is actually an SSH configuration file, and the reason I'm using this is it makes it a lot easier to SSH between all of the different VMs that I have, because they're all in this one file, and anytime I update this one file from any machine, I can then see those changes on all of my other machines, because I do use quite a few different machines, I think like 3 or 4, and so it makes it a lot nicer when I just change one of those VMs in the config file and it's updated. And the way how it works is bash, there is in the bash folder there is an alias, and the aliases give you the ability to be able to basically make up your own commands or pass in arguments or options into commands that exist. And so the SSH command, I'm passing in the actual SSH command again into itself, and then I'm doing the TAC-O just means that it's keeping the server alive for it just will keep it so that it makes it so that the SSH won't close down, which is really annoying. And the TAC-F, this means that it will use this configuration file whenever I type in the SSH command. So if I do that, SSH parent 2, it will SSH to my parent machine. And so it makes it a lot nicer. It really helps out with a lot of different things. And I'll go and show you some of the other things I've got going on here. The Docker demonstration, I'll show you this right now. The way that I have the VM set up is that they're in their own folders. And this isn't the actual VM itself, it's just the Vagrant configuration file for this VM. And so let's go into this Vagrant SSH. And this is a command, just you SSHs into the actual machine. So right here is it's a full-on VM, and I can run the command sudo docker images, and you can see this is the images, the different images that it has right here are the different images. And I just wanted to kind of show a little bit of how that worked. How this demo works is that I use 2 commands. The first one is a commit command, which basically what it does is it saves an instance of this VM. This number is actually a VM, and it saves it, and you can name it whatever you want. I just named it Emacs app, and you'll see in just a second why. And then you can save this instance into an actual .tar file. And let me show you what the reason I named it Emacs app. If I do Emacs test, it won't work because I don't have Emacs installed. So all I'm doing right now is I'm just going to go into this VM, and this is the VM that I created the Emacs application from, basically. Well, I didn't create the application, the image from. If I do Emacs test, it will open up an Emacs file. So you can see that it's installed. Now if I do ls key, this is a folder that is shared between another VM, a VM named test. And so this Emacs app underscore tar whatever app is shared between both of them, and I created that using those commands that are in the demo.bash. Using those commands I created that And so I'm going to exit out of this and show you kind of how it works. I'm going to go into the test VM and kind of show this off. And if I do sudo docker images, you'll see that it has none, and it needs an image in order to create a VM, or container is what Docker likes to call them. And so I'm going to run this demo, and those are the commands that it's going to run. It's going to first load the image from the Emacs app _tar whatever thing, and then I'm going to run that image, and I'm going to run it so that I'm going to just basically run it. It may it's just basically what I did over on the other server when I ran it. It looks, see, it's just running inside of it. If I do Emacs test, you'll see that I have Emacs. So it makes it very nice when you need to share an application, but it's not just an application, it's the whole entire environment for that application, for developing clear. And you can see now if I do sudo images, it pulls up the Emacs app and it tells you how big it is and everything. And really that's about it for Docker. I mean, it's pretty simple when you get down to it. Ansible I didn't do too much with, but to kind of show what Ansible, some of the things it can do, I'll just do a simple Ansible. I'll do a ping all, and this is going to just ping every VM that I have in the configuration file for Ansible. You can see it turns false. So there's some pretty neat things you can do with it. I didn't do much, but and that's really all I had to show. Thank you. Bye.